Hi, everyone. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Matt Sinovic. I'm the Executive Director of Progress Iowa. I'm thrilled to be joined by so many great partners today. We are here to launch the Our Lives Are on the Line week of action opposing this fast-tracked and political Supreme Court nomination of Amy Coney Barrett by President Trump that's being aided and abetted by Republicans in the Senate, including our very own Senators Chuck Grassley and Joni Ernst. So today you're going to hear from some terrific Iowa leaders who are going to talk about the importance of this Supreme Court nomination process, or why it should not move forward, and why our lives really are being threatened and are on the line with this, with their effort to push this. But I want to first thank some of our participating organizations. All of these groups have come together to stand up to Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst and tell them that we need to put the brakes on this Supreme Court nomination, that the people deserve a voice, and that there should be no confirmation until after inauguration. So I'm gonna read these participating organizations. It's a wonderful coalition, including Progress Iowa, Iowa Citizen Action Network, the Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Iowa, AFSCME Council 61, Americans for Democratic Action Iowa, Indivisible Iowa, NARAL Iowa, Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement Action Fund, One Iowa Action, Protect Our Care, People for the American Way, and Demand Justice. We are all working side by side because it's so important that we stop this Supreme Court nomination that is incredibly political and geared toward taking away our health care, taking away our rights, and ignoring the wishes of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who one of her last statements was that she wanted the next president to be able to replace her. So we are all fighting as hard as we can starting this week, because today the Senate is starting hearings for this nomination. Where we are just 22 days away from the end of the presidential election, but millions of people are already voting. Millions of people who have already voted who won't have a voice, who won't have a voice in this, but should be able to. So that's part of what's at stake today. And we are not just doing this press conference today, but we have events across the state all week long. So each day we're having local partners are having demonstrations in a different spot. So tomorrow evening at 7:00, there's a demonstration in Waterloo. Wednesday, there's a demonstration outside of the offices of Senators Grassley and Ernst in Cedar Rapids at noon. And then on Thursday, there's the final action of this week. Is a demonstration outside of the federal building in downtown Des Moines, where Senators Grassley and Ernst have their offices as well. So these are all opportunities for people to speak out and to stand up against this fast-tracked political Supreme Court nomination. So we're going to put the links to those Facebook events in the comments for this video. So please check those out, attend if you can, and if you can't, share the event on Facebook, send it to your friends and family who care about this, as it's really important that we all make our voice heard. So like I said, we have a great lineup of speakers today who are going to talk about the fact that the Supreme Court nominee is going to take away, or has a very strong chance to take away the Affordable Care Act, has a very strong chance to make abortion illegal in this country, by overturning Roe v. Wade, and just down the line, taking away our rights and threatening our lives. But before we do that, I want to mention just a tiny bit of the history here about how the Republican Senate, and especially Senators Grassley and Ernst, have just taken us away from anything close to a normal process when it comes to appointing our judicial nominees. And this has become a big talking point of the right, and it's become more of a campaign issue right now. So it's in that context that we bring this up. But Senator Grassley particularly, but Republicans in the Senate have been trying to, or have been undermining the integrity of our courts for years. when President Obama, in the last 2 years of his term, had a Republican Senate, they just slammed the brakes on nearly any judicial confirmations. And this is in stark contrast to the last 2 years of President Bush's term in 2007 and 2008, when a democratically controlled Senate still allowed normal process for his nominees to move forward. So it was a very big difference between those two. So that was the beginning of this when Senator Grassley took over as chair in 2015. He did that, but even before then, in 2013, Senator Grassley proposed removing 3 seats from the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. Now, you hear a lot of questioning about whether we should add justices or what should happen with our courts. But it's important to know that Senator Grassley, our very own Senator Grassley, proposed removing 3 of the 11 seats on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals in 2013 so that he could take away President Obama's ability to appoint people to that court. So that was his plan. Thankfully, it did not happen at the time, but that was his attempt to undermine our courts. So this has been going on for a very long time, really spearheaded by Senator Grassley. So that was in 2013. He became chair and attempted to and successfully blocked a lot of nominees to the lower courts. And of course, we all remember what happened when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland to the Supreme Court. He didn't even get a hearing. Senator Grassley shut that down. And at the time, he said that it was at the time he and Senator Ernst said that they should wait until after the election. Now that it is several years later, we say that they have changed their tune, but really they've never changed, that this is all about politics for them and pushing their agenda to repeal our health care and repeal our rights. So that's the context in which we are having this conversation today, just weeks before a presidential election. So that's how they're trying to undermine this and inject politics into this process even more so. And so now I'd like to turn it over to our speakers. I'm going to introduce them each one at a time. And if you have a question for any of our speakers, if there are press who are watching or if there are folks who are watching, please make them in the comments of the Facebook video, and we'll get to as many as we can at the end, at the very end. So first up, I'm going to introduce our friend and really a great partner on all of this work, on state courts and federal courts, Connie Ryan, the Executive Director of the Interfaith Alliance of Iowa and Action Fund. Connie? I think you're on mute, Connie.
My apologies. Thanks, Matt. Thank you for the opportunity and for all of the work that you do, as well as all of the partners in this coalition. Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund and Interfaith Alliance of Iowa has been using our voices to be heard across Iowa on issues that matter for the last 25 years. And so we're honored to be part of this. At the core of the work of Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund is the protection of true religious freedom, ensuring the government is at all levels not establishing any religion as the law of the land by giving preference to one religious belief, and also that government does not infringe on the religion or the religious practices of individuals. But equally important is that religious freedom means ensuring that religion does not interfere with government by imposing the religious beliefs of any one belief over all others. Religious freedom takes Interfaith Alliance of Iowa and Action Fund, and all of us really, into a spectrum of legal and social justice issues. For decades, the religious right has misused religion and has redefined religious freedom to their benefit and to push a political agenda. They misuse religion and religious freedom to inject their beliefs into the law, resulting in dismantling the civil rights of others and causing real harm. LGBTQ rights, women's equality, reproductive rights, the religious freedom of minority religious beliefs, including those of no faith, voting rights, immigrant rights. All of these are issues that impact real people, real Americans, real Iowans, and their basic civil rights. The misuse of religious freedom to infringe on the civil rights of others through the calculated use of all branches of government, including our courts, is strategy to move an extremist agenda forward. People's lives are on the line with all of these issues. Our lives are on the line. Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst are in the midst of Senate Judiciary Committee hearings on a nomination just a few weeks before a momentous presidential election. The people of Iowa, the voters of Iowa, should have a say this close to the election about who serves on the Supreme Court. Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund strongly urges Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst to not take a vote on the current nomination in the Senate Judiciary Committee or in the Senate. We urge both Iowa senators to wait and let the presidential candidate who wins the election make that nomination so that the voices of Iowans can be heard. Thanks so much, Matt.
Thank you, Connie, for that and for all that you're doing in your work. I know you'll be there in Des Moines on Thursday for the event outside of Senator Grassley and Ernst's office, and we encourage everyone to attend that event and all of the events this week. Reminder: it's Tuesday night in Waterloo, Wednesday at noon in Cedar Rapids, and Thursday at noon in Des Moines. So please share the links that we've included in the Facebook video or the comments in the Facebook video. And attend if you can, share and spread the word, even if you can't. And also as a reminder for all of our speakers here today, please submit questions in the comments, and we'll get to as many as we can at the very end. So if you're a reporter watching, if you're someone who's just interested in this issue, please ask a question, and we'll get to it at the very end of this program. And like and share the video. If you like and share this video, it gets to even more people. So help us spread the word. Help us hold Senators Grassley and Ernst accountable for what they're trying to do to our courts and in taking away our health care. Up next, our next speaker is a terrific leader and great partner and friend of our organization and so many in our state. Aaron Davison Rippey, the Executive Director of Planned Parenthood Advocates of Iowa. Aaron, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Matt. We are just so proud to do this work with so many incredible coalition partners. So we are facing a public health crisis here in our nation, with more than 200,000 Americans who have died from COVID-19 and more than 7.5 million have been infected. And the focus of our political leaders must be on addressing the continued spread and ongoing health and economic ramifications of COVID-19, not on a rushed process to confirm a nominee to a lifetime position on the highest court in the land. So President Trump and the Senate are trying to fast track a Supreme Court nominee in less than 40 days, when they have gone nearly 150 days without passing additional COVID-19 relief. They've made their priorities clear. Ramming through this nominee is more important to them than the health and economic security of the country. And as the last 2 weeks have made clear, this virus does not discriminate based on power or privilege or means. It's imperative that everyone follow the advice of public health experts. But while anyone can become infected, not everyone has the free, taxpayer-funded, high-quality healthcare to which the president has access. In fact, Black, Brown, and people of low incomes are disproportionately affected and killed because of centuries of systemic health and economic inequalities. And that is why we need COVID-19 relief now. So when we look at this confirmation and the nomination of Judge Amy Coney Barrett, her record is clear. Her judicial record, her writings, and her views make clear that she poses a direct threat to the Affordable Care Act and also to our reproductive health and rights. Her nomination to the Supreme Court, as well as her record on access to essential health care, are particularly dangerous while the country is in the middle of multiple public health crises across the country and here in Iowa. Judge Barrett has strongly criticized major decisions that uphold the Affordable Care Act, which is frankly the biggest advancement for women's health and sexual and reproductive health in a generation. And so the stakes could not be higher, as the Supreme Court will hear a case on the Trump-supported lawsuit that is trying to dismantle the ACA. That case will be heard only 1 week after Election Day. And so if confirmed, Barrett could put access to health coverage and care in jeopardy for tens of millions of people across the country in this moment when we are in the middle of a global pandemic. Judge Barrett has also been critical of the ACA's requirement that all health plans include birth control coverage without copays. She signed a letter that very misleadingly referred to contraception as, quote, abortion-inducing drugs, which is simply not accurate. This ACA provision has ensured birth control coverage with no out-of-pocket costs for more than 60 million people in this country. And when it comes to the issue of reproductive freedom and rights, President Trump has made it clear that he would only appoint justices who would overturn Roe v. Wade and strike down the ACA. And Judge Barrett's record makes clear why Trump believes she passes his litmus test. Barrett is an active and vocal threat to reproductive health and rights, and has even suggested that Roe v. Wade was wrongly decided. Yet 77% of the country supports the right to safe legal abortion established by Roe. Barrett's hostility towards abortion rights is not in dispute. She signed a newspaper ad opposing abortion and demanded a return to legislation that prohibits abortion. And, this is an ad that was created by a group that opposes in vitro fertilization and believes doctors who perform abortion should be criminalized. She's been critical of abortion laws in public speeches, and since becoming a judge on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, Barrett has voted to rehear cases involving abortion restrictions in which other judges had previously held the abortion restrictions at issue were unconstitutional. She has already proven that if confirmed to the Supreme Court, she would be another vote again to restrict abortion rights. And so with 17 abortion cases just one step from the Supreme Court, Barrett's anti-abortion views could have grave impact on abortion access in this country. Access to abortion is already hanging by a thread across this country, and for too many people, especially Black and Brown communities, forced to navigate a legacy of systemic racism and discriminatory policies, the promise of Roe is already meaningless because abortion is inaccessible, and these cases could dismantle what little is left. And to Justice Ginsburg's legacy, this is more than Justice Ginsburg's seat. It is the people's seat. And that is why Planned Parenthood Advocates of Iowa stands here today calling on the Senate to immediately stop the confirmation process until after the 2021 inauguration. What we see is a rushed, blatantly partisan process that is an insult to the legacy of Justice Ginsburg, to the dignity of the nation's highest court, and to our democracy. The election is already underway with millions of votes already cast across the country. The Senate should listen to the American people who believe that whoever is elected president in November should appoint the new justice to the Supreme Court. Our rights, our health, our futures, our lives are on the line, and we will fight with everything we have to stop any Supreme Court confirmation before the inauguration. Thank you so much, Matt.
Erin, thank you. And we are very proud to fight side by side with you and everyone on this call for our lives and for our rights. And you put it so well that they really are on the line. It's something that we all of us on this call and all of us across the state have seen. I mean, over the last few years, as the Affordable Care Act has expanded or expanded, and more people have gotten coverage, we've seen the benefits of that law, and really know that if it's taken away, that people's lives will be threatened, their financial health will be threatened, and really the impact that will have on Iowa families just cannot be overstated. And we've already seen the attacks on abortion and reproductive rights and at a local level too. So when we see that kind of being reinforced or potentially reinforced at the federal level, we know that we have to speak up and act. So we're really glad to be partnering with you and everyone in this fight. So as a reminder, we're here for the Our Lives Are on the Line kickoff event. We're doing a week long of action to hold Senators Grassley and Ernst accountable for fast tracking this political Supreme Court nomination We believe that the people deserve a voice in this process, and that there should be no confirmation until after the inauguration of the next Supreme Court justice. We're joined by a number of wonderful participating organizations. So whether you're watching on Progress Iowa's page, Protect Our Cares page, Interfaith Alliance, One Iowa, Planned Parenthood, Indivisible, the list goes on and on. It's a wonderful group that have decided to work together on this issue because it's so critically important. And there are events, not just today and this press conference, but there are events tomorrow night, Tuesday in Waterloo at 7:00, noon on Wednesday in Cedar Rapids, and noon on Thursday in Des Moines. So please check out the Facebook links for those events and attend if you can. Our next speaker is another terrific partner who runs a grassroots or runs an issue advocacy group as well. But also works with a number of different coalition partners on lowering drug prices, representing small businesses, advocating for veterans, and just so many other things that she does to help push good policy forward in our state. So please, now I'll turn this over to Sue Dinsdale, the Executive Director of the Iowa Citizen Action Network. Sue?
Thank you, Matt. Like Matt said, we've been around Iowa Citizen Action Network working on social justice issues for over 40 years. Sometimes are good and sometimes are really busy. So right now is a really busy time for us. I happened to have the TV on this morning, and I heard Senator Graham talking about, he was kind of lamenting the fact of what has happened. You know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg received overwhelming bipartisan support, and he really didn't know what happened between now and then. Well, Senator McConnell was the reason. You know, he summed up his plan early on in the Obama administration that the single most important thing they wanted to achieve for President Obama is to be a one-term president. So Lindsey Graham has ceded his power to Mitch McConnell when it comes to that. And then we have our Senator Grassley, who on March 16th of 2016 made the statement that a lifetime appointment that could dramatically impact individual freedom and change the direction of the court for at least a generation is too important to get bogged down in politics. The American people shouldn't be denied a voice. He talked about this being a tremendous opportunity for our country to have a sincere and honest debate about the role of the Supreme Court. And I wish that he would go back and listen to those words. And he and Senator Ernst both need to really look deep in their hearts and see if this is truly what they want to do while an election is already taking place today. Now I'm going to date myself a little bit because the 70s were a great generation. Decade. We had a lot of fun in the 70s. But if we confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court, we may be going back to some of the bad policies of the 70s. You know, in the 70s, an unmarried woman could not get birth control without her parents' permission. There were restrictions from a lot of doctors who would not give it to a married woman unless the husband said it was okay. Abortions were not legalized until the mid-70s, which left a lot of women either with unplanned, dangerous pregnancies or carrying to term a baby that they could not provide for. I remember taking a new job in the 70s and having to sign a waiver that I would not try to collect on my insurance policy if I got pregnant within the first year of being employed then. You know, like I said, the 70s were fun, but we sure don't want to go back there now. We've come such a long way in the past 40 years, and we do not need a Supreme Court justice that will set us back in time. So I am, as with all of my friends here today, which I love to be in partnership with all of you, I wish we didn't have to on this issue. I wish that this was not an issue right now. But along with all of them, I am imploring Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst to stand up to Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and stand up for Iowans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sue. And thank you for all that you're doing all across our state. I have a couple of notes before we get to our final speaker. If you want to ask a question, apparently you'll need to go to Progress Iowa's Facebook page. There are a number of pages broadcasting this, but the comments that we can see here are on Progress Iowa's link. So if you visit Progress Iowa on Facebook and make a comment there, then we'll get to as many questions as we can after our final speaker here. Also, please like and share this video to help us spread the word. And get this information out to as many people as possible about the events going on all week. Tuesday, tomorrow night in Waterloo at 7, noon Wednesday in Cedar Rapids, and noon Thursday in Des Moines. Our final speaker of the day is someone that we've worked with really closely at Progress Iowa on courts for a number of years. And they've been part of this, part of Why Courts Matter Coalition and a number of other projects that we've done to fight for a fair and independent judiciary. And also their organization set up a terrific petition link that we link to in the comments that if you click on it, you can email Senators Grassley and Ernst directly. So Keenan, I'm sorry if I stole some of your thunder there, but you can talk about that a little bit more. But we're very thrilled to have our saving the best for last, our final speaker, Keenan Crow, the Director of Policy and Advocacy with One Iowa Action. Keenan?
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that introduction. We love working with all of our coalition partners that are here today as well. And I will be brief because all of those wonderful partners have covered so much ground on this already. I'm here today because as a member of the LGBTQ community, our lives are on the line as well. The confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett has the potential to undo many of the hard-fought victories of the LGBTQ community and put a brick wall in place for further progress on those matters. Just last week, Justices Thomas and Alito signaled that they would like to repeal the Obergefell ruling, which recognized same-sex marriages across this country. In a 2016 speech by Barrett also indicates that she believes that that court's ruling in Obergefell was an error and intends to repeal it as well. And it isn't just marriage. Barrett has a fraught history with LGBTQ folks, and everything that she has said publicly has been extremely alarming. She has claimed that Title IX protections do not extend to transgender Americans. She has misgendered those seeking legal redress, and she has expressed opinions that indicate that she will strike down the Affordable Care Act, which provides non-discriminatory health care access for millions. Further, the day after Election Day, the court will hear oral arguments in Fulton v. City of Philadelphia, and that case will determine whether government entities will allow for discrimination against LGBTQ people from taxpayer-funded entities providing foster care services. A negative ruling in that case could have implications that far exceed foster care and could easily throw into question the validity of all kinds of state non-discrimination statutes, ranging from health care to employment to education and more. So combined with all the other issues my colleagues have talked about previously, this amounts to a nominee who is either indifferent or actively hostile to marginalized communities. Confirming Judge Barrett will jeopardize healthcare, voting rights, reproductive rights, anti-discrimination protections, racial justice, and true religious freedom, among many, many other things. So thank you so much, my other colleagues, for their comments. This concludes our remarks, and I will toss it back to Matt to take some questions.
Great. Thank you, Keenan. And thank you, everyone, for speaking today and for just your advocacy, for your leadership and partnership in this fight. I was going to say this earlier, but Sue put it really well. I love working with you all, but it is really frustrating to have to do this. But I'm glad that we have so many wonderful coalition partners in this fight. So now we're going to open it up for some question and answer. And I think we have one question coming in from Angela in Cedar Rapids. She says, what can Iowans do to pressure our senators to wait on this confirmation? Which is a great question, and it is why we are here today. So if any one of our speakers would like to answer that, we are bringing folks back onto the screen, and so we can do that now. I'll just kind of open it up for discussion. I have many of my own thoughts, but I want to hear from you all.
Well, Matt, as you said, there is that link that you can follow or you could visit our page, oneiowaction.org/save SCOTUS, and fill out that form and send a direct email to Joni, Ernst, and Senator Grassley. We do have some model language in there for folks who may not know exactly what to say at first, but you can change that. We would love it if you used your own words to talk to your senators about why this matters and how this is going to impact your life.
I would just add that it doesn't need to be a one-time shot at doing this. Like, if you can communicate with the senators every day that you can, they need to feel the pressure from real Iowans, everyday Iowans. We're focused very clearly on our own senators. Other states are doing work to pressure their own senators, but Senator Grassley and Senator Ernst need to hear from Iowans, and they need to hear from us every day, and to put pressure on them to not take a vote.
Yeah, and I think, it looks like we've shared the phone numbers for Senators Grassley and Senator Ernst in the chat. And, as all of my wonderful colleagues have encouraged everyone, reach out. I mean, I know that sometimes it can feel like, maybe they already have the votes, but this is not said and done. This is not over until it's over. And what we have seen in past experiences, whether it's defending the Affordable Care Act or a number of other situations, things may seem one way at one time. And when people make their voices heard, when they reach out to their elected officials, when they demand that elected officials listen to the will of the people, we can make change. So don't feel like your voice doesn't matter, because it does. Make a daily appointment to call or email your senators. Invite your friends and family to do the same. Get a game going, whatever it takes. We have to make our voices heard, especially, during a pandemic when, not everybody is in a position to be able to do this kind of work in person. It's that much more important that we are taking these actions, calling, emailing, writing. Make your voice heard. It really does make a difference.
And I think, Matt, you brought this up at the beginning of the program, that share this video. I mean, look at all of the wonderful information our speakers have given us today, and share it with people that need to hear it. And I agree. I have a time set to call both my senators every day. I send them emails. I call the Des Moines and the DC offices. And the more I don't want to say badger, but let them know what Iowans are thinking, at least we've done something. I guess that gives me a little bit of peace in my soul to know that I'm not just sitting back and letting this happen, but share this video.
Yeah. You could say badger. We could say politely pester. We can, I reclaim our time, all of those things. I think it's important too that now I can't remember who said it, but to keep calling, to keep emailing, to keep doing this over and over again. I don't know that we laid this out, but the hearings are scheduled for this week. But over the next few weeks, this will continue to unfold. So there will be floor debate. There may be, maybe there won't be. Maybe we'll stop it before it gets that far. But they are intending to carry forward with a vote. So in the committee, and then also on the floor of the Senate. So there will be multiple opportunities. I mean, you could call every day like Sue's doing, but there'll be multiple opportunities for people to take action and say the hearing shouldn't go forward. The vote from the Judiciary Committee shouldn't go forward. We should stop debate, on the floor, or we should not vote, or we should vote down this nominee right now and wait until after the inauguration. So there'll be multiple points in time. And I think, Keenan, correct me if I'm wrong, but if anyone signs up for that petition, that should give us the ability to continue to communicate with them. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely
great. So we will do that. We will keep sending you information so that you can have the latest about what's going on with this process, so that you can be best informed when you're calling your senators or emailing them.
I would just add, Matt, that make your voices heard. If you don't believe that this is the way that our country should go and the way that this nomination process should happen, and that it should wait until after we know who wins the presidential election. If you believe that, then make your voice heard. And the only way that we're going to change the trajectory of this is to pressure our senators, and we need you to be part of that.
Exactly right. So I think, unless anyone has any parting thoughts, I want to just give a big thank you to all of our coalition partners and mention them all again. But I want to thank you all for joining us today and being part of this discussion. And I know we'll see you folks out at all these events this week. But yeah, I want to offer that up one last time for any final thoughts. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for speaking today. And thank you all for those of you who have watched this entire time, those of you who have gotten this information. Like Sue said, like all of us have said, please share this video, like and share this video to spread the word. And in the comments of the video that's on Progress Iowa's page, there are links to the events. There's tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Waterloo. And so that's Tuesday night in Waterloo, Wednesday at noon in Cedar Rapids, and Thursday at noon in Des Moines. This is a week long of action to oppose this fast track political nomination because our lives are on the line. I'm going to go through one last time and recognize our coalition partners. Many of them are broadcasting this video, so you may be watching on one of their pages. So in addition to Progress Iowa, there's Iowa Citizen Action Network, the Interfaith Alliance of Iowa Action Fund, Planned Parenthood Advocates of Iowa, AFSCME Council 61, Americans for Democratic Action Iowa, Indivisible Iowa, NARAL Iowa, Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement Action Fund, One Iowa Action, Protect Our Care, People for the American Way, and Demand Justice. And this is a big undertaking for our coalition to put this statewide effort together. And it really does take every single one of us. So thank you all so much for everything that you're doing. We'll keep encouraging you to call and email and attend these events. And hopefully we'll see you all soon after we stop this Supreme Court nomination. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye-bye.